probably 10 to 15% of ad spends are on terms that will never deliver a paying customer. And sometimes I've heard people say, well, we could go after our competitors by running their brand names. But the problem is one, is just not really a nice thing to do to patients. Two is that there's going to be a lot of patients that are going to call you and they're in the middle of treatment plan. Make sure you're answering those phone calls. And that is a big area that we'll see it fail with our own clients for a period of time. And that's how we started talking to All-Star. There's times that we've run ads and we'll see 22 phone calls, 23 phone calls. That should be 10 new patients, cost $500 to get those patients. And then the phone calls don't get answered.
This is Dental All-Stars, where we bring you the best in dentistry on marketing, management, and training.
Welcome to Dental All-Stars. I'm Alex Nottingham, founder and CEO of All-Star Dental Academy. And with me is Patrick Chavoustie, Omni Premier Marketing. Yay! Okay. Yay. Our topic is why Google ads fail. You fail.
Yeah.
Please welcome Patrick.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me, Alex. Thanks for nailing the pronunciation of my last name. I appreciate that.
It's a Travesty.
Pretty easy. Yeah. It's, why Google ads fail. They don't always fail, obviously. But for a lot of dental practices, they will fail. We see it happen time and time again. They just don't work. And when I say
but before you even get into why they fail,
yeah,
for those that are listening, what are we talking about?
Yeah. So there's a couple of different types of Google ads that you can run. There's actually a bunch, but the two primary types of campaigns that we'll see dental practices try before coming to work with us that will fail will be, one's called a local service ad. This is an ad that'll show up at the top. It's really a phone call only. You only are going to get charged by Google when somebody actually calls you. It's a Google call tracking number. Google provides that number. That's one type. And then more of your typical Google paid ad that'll show up when somebody searches a term such as, dentist near me or emergency dentist or something like that. So guaranteed placement on these ads as long as your bids are high enough. They work like an auction. But those are the big types that we're talking about today.
Got it.
Yeah.
And, okay, so those are, you're paying Google.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, people know what this is. You should know what this is now. Google is the giant of advertising, and you can either, and this is your specialty, being a great marketing company, is you have your SEO, search engine optimization, where you're optimized for the search engine to find you, but the search engines want to get paid. So you can get on top by paying for that or geo-targeting a number of things.
Yep.
Okay. So, we're looking into why they fail. Give me like some background, like what percent of dentists are doing it? Is it like, what's going on in this space?
I don't have any data on what percentage of dentists are actually running. It's not something that Google provides.
Okay.
We're able to anecdotally look and see who's running ads. There's some third-party software tools out there that we can look and see, hey, this dentist is running it, or in this particular market, let's just say in Denver, for instance, these are the dentists that are running it. We can see that as long as they have those ads turned on, but it's hard to say the percentage. If I had a guess, I would say it's probably less than 20%, maybe 25%.
So a small amount.
Yeah.
And most are using a marketing company to do that. They're not doing it themselves. Typically.
I think probably most are. I think there's a good amount of dentists who try to do it on their own, especially if they're a bit younger in their business, not necessarily age, but it's a newer startup, that sort of thing. They'll try to go it alone to save some money. Usually that's a big mistake. That'll just be throwing out 100%. There's others that will use dental specific marketing companies that may or may not provide a great service. And then there's some that'll just use agencies that have experience in digital and may be pretty good at running ads, but they're not niche specific. So they're not specific to dental practices. And that's going to be like pushing a current pill too. So those are the three different areas that we see people run ads or use to run ads before they come to us.
All right. I'm getting anxious here.
Yeah.
What are the mistakes?
Some of the big ones that we see, and these are big ones that we see with agencies that have names in the dental space. Certainly we see them running ads towards keywords that don't actually result in a click from a person who is interested in paying for their services. So in other words, if you go in your market right now and you pull up in Google and you search free dentist near me, this is a big one that I see, free cosmetic dentist, you'll see that ads will run for these keywords. Dentists are actually paying Google to deliver them a click when somebody uses the term free cosmetic dentist. It's happening all the time and all over the place. Anybody that's searching the word free has no intention on paying. They're probably looking for some type of a Medicaid program, or potentially they're just thinking there's some pro bono dentist out there that does free cosmetic work. They search the term, they click, they go to your website, they're excited, they found someone who does free cosmetic dentistry work, they call, and your team says, no, you got to pay. That's a waste of money. And we see it happen all the time. There's a lot of other keywords along the lines of free, like free dental, or free like dental school. How much does dentist make? That's another keyword that we'll see. How much do dentists make? Boom, there's some dentist running an ad for that. And clearly they're not trying to educate the public. They're trying to sell their services, but because they're not using what Google calls negative keywords, in other words, when somebody uses this term, do not show my ads. So these ads show, and it's huge. I would guess it's probably 10 to 15% of ad spends are on terms that will never deliver a paying customer.
That's what I was getting to. I remember when we spoke about pay-per-click, which I may need your help at some point to get back to it. But you said your negative keyword list should be enormous, dwarfing your positive keywords, because like you said, if you have free anything, Google will find a way to, if you don't know what you're doing, the agency or typically the dentist won't know this. You're just paying for a bunch of clicks you don't want. And some agencies are lazy and they won't do it with respect to that. So it sounds like the mistake is you're using like these gimmicks to try to get them. And even if you intended that keyword, it's not going to convert well. So stop spending on things that don't convert. Is that also part of this mistake, is also the negative, not being aware of the negative keywords?
It is, yeah. So that's a big part of it, is just really not having the experience to, or it's, and it also could be not caring enough. That's going to be a thing too, where they're just not building out a negative keyword list that will cover all of the crazy things that people can search that might be dental related, that you don't want your site to show up for. I think our negative keyword list right now is, last I saw it, I think it was like 7,600 terms.
Wow.
Negative keyword list.
How do you find all of them? You're tracking what you don't want and you add them?
So just years and years and years of experience. Some of it's just literally thinking what's every negative keyword that somebody, we've actually had some office parties where we're actually like, okay, let's work on a negative keyword list. You'll see them come in sometimes on, there's been a few that we've only found because somebody actually searched it and we're like, wow, why would anybody search this keyword, right? This term, this negative term. And, that's some ways that we found them. Some is just common sense. There's a lot of, we have an adult content negative keyword list. I'm not kidding you. People that want to,
wow.
Yeah. People that want to, really go to a dark place. You can imagine some of the dental adult content negative keywords that could be out there, but there's a bunch of them. Another negative keyword list that needs to be built too is your competitors. So all of the dentists that are probably in your state and at least within 30 miles of your practice, if you're in a bigger city, not only the names of the individual dentists, but you also need a negative keyword list of all the branded practices too. Because if you think about this situation, and this happens all the time, where when the campaigns aren't really optimized well, where somebody calls and looking for, does a search, my mom would do this, XYZ dentist, looking for her dentist. And somebody, this XYZ brand, let's just call it Alpine Dental to make this easier. So Alpine Dental, she does a search for that, but a local dentist next to Alpine Dental didn't use Alpine for a negative. So now he shows up and my mom calls and she goes, no, I was looking for Alpine Dental. And he's like, well, this isn't Alpine Dental. This is, Patrick's Dental Emporium. And waste of money, right? It's a waste of click. And sometimes I've heard people say, well, we could go after our competitors by running their their brand names, right? Alpine Dental. Let's go ahead and run that ad to try to steal Alpine's traffic. But the problem is one, is just not really a nice thing to do to patients. Two is that there's going to be a lot of patients that are going to call you and they're in the middle of treatment plans. So, maybe they've had a buildup and they're coming back in for their permanent crown. What are you going to do for them? Nothing, right? You're going to do,
Or they're confused.
yeah, or they're just confused, right? You don't want a patient showing up to have a permanent crown put on when they're throwing practice. Like they're not going to buy a new buildup from you or new crown or whatever. And it's just not good. It's just not good. It's just not being a great human being. So that's another area that we see negatives really not being used in a way that can prevent a lot of waste. And let me say this too, Alex, in advertising, this is something that's a concept that's hard for people to kind of grasp sometimes. And I've recently come up with an analogy that helps, but there's always going to be some waste in your ads. Almost always. There's always going to be people that are, ridiculous, or they're looking for the wrong thing, or they're not the type of patient that you're looking to bring in, what have you. There's always going to be some small percentage of that. But as we're in the middle of summer here, and I know that you're in Florida, I'm in Colorado, air conditioners run this type of this time of year. They're not that effective.
And I need 2 air conditioners per room in Florida.
But you still have a lot of that cooled air that is being lost through windows, through doors being open, through your attic. It's just part of it. So a lot of energy, I think like a good furnace is like 90% efficient. That means 10% of your heating cost is literally going out the window. You still run your heat, you still run your AC, even though there's a little bit of waste. When you build a house, there's lumber that's wasted, there's carpet, there's tile, all that. So there's always waste in everything that you do. There's going to be some waste in advertising. Some's to be expected, but not to the point where it's costing you to have a significant return on investment in your Google ads.
That's a great great analogy, because what I'm hearing you say is you have to accept some waste. And this is something you coach me on a lot, because I'm like, I don't want to spend that. You're like, you have to understand some will be there. But the question is, the 80-20 rule, probably I think about, try to get 70 to 80% is good targeting. And because it's like, you can work so hard with your negative keyword list, and you can only get so far. You can get to that 80%, but you'd have to expend an enormous amount of energy that's unnecessary to get even more. Every incremental from there, it's just not worth it. Law of diminishing returns. Okay, so I understand as a marketer that there will be some waste, but I want to try in issue number 1, try to minimize it the best I can.
Yeah.
But not obsess about it.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you the first way is to give us a call, or someone who's very experienced in done marketing. This is paid ads specifically. We have a team, and we literally provide this service to other agencies where we're fulfilling the work for them because we've gotten so good at it. And we've gotten so good at it. I'm not sitting here, like trying to brag about how awesome we are at this. We've spent a ton of money and put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into becoming really, really efficient in running Google ads. So that's how, right? So it's not just like,
and you have the list, the negative keywords you've worked on, and you can't get that unless you,
keep in mind, every practice still needs to have its own negative.
Some customization for sure.
We're doing a whole bunch of research. We're pulling the names of every doctor in the area. We're
really
not just dentists, physicians too, chiropractors, to make sure that we negative them out. Any brand that they could potentially be confused with, we're making sure that we negative them out too. So it's not, every individual location needs to have its own negative keyword list too. They get added in the same place in Google. It's not like they go some new place, but they've got to be added there. Talk about a little bit about local service ads. Those are those call only ads. And for a while, we having a great deal of success with local service ads. In most areas, they're not that successful anymore. And the reason being is that we don't have a control. We can't add a negative keyword to local service ads the way that we can Google ads. And so what ends up happening is you end up getting a lot of Medicaid patients that are calling on those numbers. If you take Medicaid, sure, it could be okay. But if you're not taking Medicaid, you're probably going to see somewhere between 30% and 50% of your phone calls be Medicaid, or people that are looking for no-cost options in dentistry. So I'd be very careful of LSA. We do have some practices that we saw a great deal of success with. Kind of depends on where they're located. If they're in a market that has 50% or 25% or more Medicaid patients in that area, it's not going to work out so well.
Give me more.
Yeah. So here's another thing, going back to the typical ads. This is a rookie mistake that I see all the time. We'll do audits. And by the way, we'll do free audits on ad campaigns. So we'll take a look at what's going on. One of the things that I see is a top performing keyword will often be teeth whitening, where they're getting a lot of clicks for that term. It is the worst term to optimize your Google Ads campaign for. And the reason is the intent of the person doing the search. So for a lot of people that are doing that search, they are not trying to see a dentist. They're trying to buy something on Amazon. They're trying to have something to DoorDash to them. They want crest strips. They want some kind of charcoal. They want some kind of elixir, or snake oil or whatever. So be very careful with that one. Understand what's the intent of the person that is doing this search. And if they're looking to buy something as opposed to come see you, I'd run from that keyword. Stay clear of it.
Give me more mistakes.
Yeah. So some of these as far as mistakes, there's a million of them out there. I'll tell you another big.
Okay, give me one more, and then I want to hear, like, what do we do about it now?
Yeah, so there's a type of ad campaign that Google allows you to build out called Performance Max. It'll also be called PMax. And basically that's where Google's like, hey, we know better than everybody on how to run this campaign. And so we're just going to suggest everything and we're going to kind of do everything. And we have seen those be successful for short periods of time. I think somehow when they get turned on, and maybe this is just, I believe some rumors here, that they get turned on and for a while they kind of perform well and then drop off. Again, Google will start showing your ads when somebody searches, Alpine Dentist in your Patrick's Dental Emporium. So, they're not going to get those ads. We haven't seen them really get those ads in front of the right audience with the right search intent. So PMax is another place that we see people waste a ton of money.
Let me ask you an oddball question. So our COO, Shelly, said to me, man, I went to look at this company and they will not leave me alone. Everywhere I go, I'm getting ads, and I cannot shut it up. How do we do that?
Yeah, so those are retargeting ads. So basically how those ads work is you have to have a significant, and for Google, for them to work, you have to have, I think it's at least 1,000 visitors per month. I'm not running ads day to day. So I built strategy, but not ads day to day. It's either 800 or 1,000 visitors per month. The average dentist is probably not seeing 800 visitors per month. So they wouldn't qualify for those on Google. They would qualify them on Facebook. So there's a cookie that goes on the website that tells Facebook, hey, this person came to this website. Now show them this retargeting ads. Those ads are much lower cost per click than the typical ads that just run the first time on Google. I like those types of ads when we're talking about anything that's cosmetic, where it takes people to make a little bit of a decision. But sometimes I see that ad run, like if you search emergency dentist near me and you're running a retargeting ad to that person, they had a dental emergency 2 weeks ago and you're still like, that just doesn't make any sense. So you're just literally wasting your money. So you want to be very specific on those. I would keep those more towards things like veneers, cosmetic, genre, maybe implants. That could be a good place to run those ads. Yeah, so that's where I would keep retargeting to. Ultimately, what you want to have happen is for somebody to search an ad with high intent, dentist near me, and they're ready to book right now. Like, you want them to book today. You want to talk them into booking today. And actually, I take that back. You don't want to talk them into booking today. They planned on it. You don't want to talk them out of booking today. Most people are talking people out of making appointments, not into making appointments. So I'd be very careful. Make sure that they're going to a landing page on your site that matches the keyword that they searched, the contents about the keyword that they searched. Keep them on the path that they were on. Don't get them chasing butterflies, because they will chase them and they'll take off. You'll never see them again. And then, they're on to the next.
All right. What do we do about these mistakes? I'm dentist listening. I'm very impressed with what you have to say. How do we do Google ads well? Or who's going to do it for us, and how do we make sure that they're good at what they do, or whatever?
Yep. So I'm going to go to one more area of failure.
Okay. And then I'll solutions.
Yeah. I'm going to plug the All-Star Dental Academy here.
And plus yourself, we love Omni.
Yeah, thank you. The make sure that you're answering the calls. So make sure you're answering those phone calls, and that is a big area that we'll see it fail with our own clients for a period of time, and that's how we started talking about All-Star, as you know, Alex. You got to make sure to answer the calls. There's times that we've run ads and we'll see 22 phone calls, 23 phone calls. That should be 10 new patients. Cost $500 to get those patients, not each total, right? So $50 a patient. And then the phone calls don't get answered. Like nobody answers the phone calls. So make sure that you're going to answer the phone calls. It is so important. If for some reason you can't answer it, get them a text immediately and then call those people right back and keep calling them back. So I wanted to say that.
Well, I want to add one thing back to you with respect to that. And I'm very impressed. Our tagline is training with integrity. And you have a lot of integrity, Patrick. I've seen you send people our way or say to clients, hey, can you talk with them? Because I'm not working with them if they don't fix their phones.
Yeah.
Because Shed Holmes, one of our buddies, right? I worked for him. You read his books. He said, I don't want to waste my time and your money.
Yeah.
And I think that's your philosophy. Like, if you're going to come to me, you're not going to get a good result. I'm not going to, this is a non-starter.
Yeah.
Like, you're just going to waste your money. Like, you have no problem turning away money that you don't feel it's going to be a good job. And you also, and I feel for you, but you take it personal when people get taken advantage of in this industry. So what I can say, those that are listening, Patrick's a good guy. He's got a great company. And I think it's nice when you have people with integrity with respect to this. So thank you for the shout out. I think it's just good business sense that why spend more in marketing if you are not capable of providing great customer service?
Yeah. No, it's a big headache we all don't need, right? So, I think this kind of leads into that question that you started to ask me too, is like, how can you have a successful campaign? Well, some of the things that, do the opposite of these negative things, right?
I mean, look, let's cut to the chase, right?
Yeah.
It's funny. Somebody said there was this statement called "beat around the bush," and it's like it's an old. There's actually some reasoning behind it. Like, you beat the bush to get like the fox or something that's in the bush out.
Yeah.
So don't beat around the. I have to look at the etymology or whatever where this came from, the history. Anyway, interesting. We're not going to beat around the bush, but look, those that are listening, talk to Patrick. I mean, obviously, talk to a marketing company that knows what they're doing. The only marketing company that I know of that knows what they're doing is Omni Premier Marketing. And all of our members and those that are followers or just followers of the podcast, whatever, reach out to Patrick. And like you said, you give him, I love this, completely free, no commitment, get an assessment. But at the end of the day, the solution, I'm listening, is like you said, find someone who can do it for you and not do all those mistakes, do it the right way. The dentist, you're in no business of doing your pay-per-click. And Patrick, as I'm listening to you, we're gonna have a conversation, probably this week. I'm gonna talk to my team, but at some point, I need you to help me with my pay-per-click again. And I was doing it myself, and I'm pretty technical with it. I was having, a small modicum of success, but it's not worth my time. I don't have the immense resources you do, and I'm not going to stick with it.
Yeah.
So I know it's even, and look at our website at All-Star Dental Academy. That was built by Omni Premier Marketing. And this is an enterprise level business. So, I mean, they specialize in dentistry. I appreciate you took us on. So I want to talk to you about paid ads at some point for me, because I need help with it. So we're not all, listen, we can say, we're not also, for those who are watching the podcast, we're not also the hair club president or hair for clients, but also the president. No, we're not hair club, as we're bald. So bald and beautiful. So you don't want to get hair advice from us. But when it comes to marketing, Patrick is the guy. You can learn from it, but I'm sure you'll agree with me. If you can find a marketing company, and you're not the only one out there, there's not a lot, but there are others that can do a good job, you're all for it. Just take care of the client.
Yep.
But for those that don't know that, because I don't, talk to Patrick, get the free assessment.
Appreciate it, Alex.
And then you're going to call me after this podcast and say, Alex, stop pitching me so much. Like it's not a good look.
Don't get bad that way.
You're
It's not as bad as it look as having a full head of hair, which
there you go. You're a good guy, Patrick. I hope everyone listening learned a lot. And you can learn more about Omni Premier. Is the website's Omni? Give me the website, omnipremier.com.
.com.
Okay. And if you forgot it or you can't type it in right, just reach out to us. We'll connect you. Thank you, Patrick. And everyone listening, remember to follow us or subscribe, depending on the button, to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. It really helps when you subscribe and follow. It helps our rankings. Speaking of rankings with the Guru, that's the number one thing. Following us helps us. And then we get more search and more people get to learn more. It becomes this. So if you enjoy what you're listening to or watching, follow. And I'm going to give you a trick. Go to your friend's phone and just click follow there too. Get us a whole bunch of follows. That'll help our ranking, right? And we really appreciate it. So until next time, everybody, go out there and be an all-star.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Dental All Stars. Visit us online at allstardentalacademy.com.